Oscars were proceeding in the early going in a fairly normal fashion, but that wasn't what the voyeurs were interested in. And they were soon supplied with something that satisfied their interest in spades. Because in this world where we now enjoy, in a kind of grisly way, celebrating the downfall of others, particularly the mighty, but sometimes not the mighty, sometimes just ordinary people happen to be recorded on video. And so we watch the housewives of whatever, or we watch Survivor, and we watch people endure acute moments of embarrassment and great personal trial in front of us and seem to kind of revel in it. And well, in the Oscars, I wonder how many saw the incident that I'm speaking of, where Chris Rock was teasing the people in the front row who were the honored guests. And his shtick, I gather, is to be provocative, almost insulting, and he was in good form, I suppose. And the idea is that if you're one of the subjects of this, you're supposed to kind of go along with it, even though it's not fun to be the subject of those kind of barbs, I'm sure, particularly in the eye of the world. So at one point, Chris Rock got around to talking about Will Smith's wife. And he made a barb about her hairdo in a movie. At this, Will Smith kind of chuckled a little bit, squirmed, then he got explosively up out of his chair, walked 20 paces across the stage, and slapped Chris Rock. And this was recorded for all in the world to see. Chris Rock, for his part, actually displayed great presence of mind. Will Smith went back to his seat and then proceeded to deliver some F-bomb fueled invective at Chris Rock. That moment we saw a fracture writ large. This is something that is going to be extremely difficult to take back, extremely difficult to overcome, maybe not to be overcome at all. I'm sure most people would have looked at that and said, no, that's going to be permanent, that's not going to be recoverable. And so all of the people who were watching had the, I suppose, grisly glee at seeing this happen to the mighty, that impulsive action could fuel this kind of regrettable incident. And it's, you know, what I'm really here to talk about is not so much to analyze that happening and to go into it and say, well, you know, how did that come about, or what should or could have been done. But I am here to say that this happens for everyone, as far as I know. I have yet to meet a person who does not have, at some point in their recent or distant past, some incident, some breakage with another person that they really cared about, that they really valued, which has now occurred and made them distant and broken with each other. That when I talk with people about the book, very frequently happens that they get a little wistful and they say, as some have said, I wish I'd had this book because I had one of these. Or my sister and I haven't spoken for 6 years. And I think, isn't that a shame? And for them, they feel it too. Isn't that a shame? That is a great regret that they carry around with them, that gnaws at them, that bothers them. And it sits hard with them. It's like something that you've eaten that just never quite gets digested and never lets up. it doesn't, I think we think we're really good at just having these things kind of go away and disappear over time, and they do. It's like grief. You have an incident like this, and at first it's huge and large in your eyes, and then it gradually, as time goes on, reduces in its sensibility. But all you have to do is bump into it, and it's right back. It comes right back in its full force and its regret. And I've seen people that I talk to cringe reflexively, just, oh, I don't want to be reminded of that. The purpose in writing this book is to say it doesn't have to be that way. That anyone in any situation with somebody that you really care about can recover from those kinds of sometimes horrible breaks, horrible breaches of trust that have occurred with somebody else that they really cared about. So I wonder, just as you're sitting here and thinking about this, are there any that come up for you? Do you have a fracture in your past? And you say, yeah, I know what we're talking about. I'm not expecting necessarily for someone to volunteer, but they might. And to all of you who've had this experience, which, as I say, I think is universal, my heart goes out to you. Because it's a terrible burden to carry. And as I say, it never really goes away. It never really goes away. Mm-hmm. But what if you could resource that caring, that part that is fueling your regret, and have that take you forward into a process of reconciliation that would allow you to get past this horrible break and recover it. Not just to recover it, but to fully restore and reinstate the relationship healthier than it was before. How would that be for you? So I think what happens is people who have that experience in their past that they carry around with them are in prison. And I'd like to read the invitation in the book. Friends, we come together for a solemn and noble purpose, to liberate good people from prison. It's a prison two people entered after something happened. They had been parties in an important relationship, one that was very meaningful to both. But there was a misfire, and their formerly free and easy association broke down. Walls came up. Positive interactions were either cut off or became hard labor. There seemed to be no chance for it to change. It was bad and set to stay that way. Relationships between humans that work well are key to constructive living. When they go sideways, they get messy, crabbed, fraught with angry grudges, feuds, impasses, resentment, regret, and guilt. Most of us have experienced the sudden chill of a damaged bond with someone who matters. Have you? Few of us have learned how to fully restore a fractured relationship to one that's whole and vibrant. Do you find yourself no longer able to interact easily with a certain colleague, relative, or friend? Is there a business player with whom you shared a mission, but who has broken with you? Has someone you were once close to become standoffish and distant? If so, you're only human. And if you mourn that loss and want to do something about it, you've arrived at the right place. This book is a guide to help you set a relationship fracture right. It promises resolution. It aims your sights beyond mere settlement and helps you to shoot for the moon. A contentious dilemma, thoroughly disarmed. A conclusion to the issue without loose ends left to fester. A future where the matter never comes up again. There's nothing exactly like it. So the book is to deliver people from that prison But I recognize that it takes enormous courage to do that, to take the step. If you were to buy the book today, that would mean that you were taking a step toward resolution, toward reconciliation with the people that fall into this category with you of broken relationships. It means that you have the fortitude to say, I am going to invest something in turning this around based on Doug's assurances, which, sure, true. I wouldn't have written the whole book if I didn't think it could work. And I've had years and years of working with the material in the book to bring people through remarkably wrecked relationships to wholeness and function together. And as I said, not just working, but better than before. So back to Will Smith and Chris Rock. The ultimate irony was, first of all, Will Smith would not leave. He was requested to leave, but did not leave. And he was sitting there in the front row. And wouldn't you know it, when they came to Best Actor, he won Best Actor. So in one night, he went from the very lowest to the very highest in the world. But can he capitalize on that new position that he has ascended to as an Oscar winner? I don't know. I think likely his career is now in the descent. What do you think?